All right, so update on the Warrior. Pulled the exhaust loose, cut the tips off where they had slid them up on there and kind of welded halfway through. Went ahead and cut the tips all the way off and then cleaned everything up, re-angled them so hopefully this bottom one has a little bit better of an angle. That way when you turn right, it doesn't scrape. Welded them all the way around, of course. Got that all sealed off. And then I wrapped both headers. I did, individual here and here, and then connected them here together because I just thought it would look a lot better to me personally. And sent the picture to the owner. He really liked it. He said it really, he liked it a lot. So, and it also really makes the bike look a lot better, 100% better, because that old raggedy stuff that was hanging off there and the rust and all that made it look pretty poor on that side. So now it looks a lot better. And a tip for you guys, if you guys ever have to do header wrap, is if you have to do them, take your spool of header wrap and get your like a little bucket or whatever you have, put some hot water in it and put it down in there and then let it soak for a little while. And what you'll find is not only is it easier to work with as far as wrapping, because it's a lot easier to get it to go around the curves and all that, but once you get everything wrapped and everything, all your fasteners on your ties, then when you fire the bike, what you'll notice, it'll start steaming, of course, because it's going to burn off the water. It's going to heat the water and get it out of there, but it'll also suck those down a lot tighter once all the heat has come back out of the system, once it cools back down. But if you do it, like I said, you're going to see a lot of steam, so don't be worried about that. It's just part of the process to burning that water off. So now that that's done, as you see, there's a bunch of wires and everything. Well, this is that O2 sensor setup that I was showed before. So now it is on the bike. And this is just temporary. This is only for testing purposes, but this can be put on different bikes. And what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna get a magnetic tank bag. And that way I can kind of have everything really close, because these don't have to go very far to connect it to the bike. And it would be actually easier if it was on a tank bag to run it into the side, like all your wires, and then run up into that. I've got a handlebar clamp for the gauge itself. And then the power side, all the bikes I do, if they don't already have it, I go ahead and put a trickle charger connector on it. So I wired this setup into a trickle charger connector, so that way if they do have that, you can just connect right in. You have instant power, because this is set up to be put in a vehicle, a car, motorcycle, whatever the case may be. And it's supposed to be permanent, so it's supposed to go to keyed on as far as the ignition system. But with this setup, since it's going to be a mobile setup, you just connect it into the quick connect on the charger side. So I'll show you kind of what it is, and then I'll fire the bike, and it'll get, of course, loud, and you'll see the readout on it, and then I'll kind of shut off and we'll go through the rest. So, like I said, it's just, everything is loosely put on there. So turn the bike on, it's not gonna come on, because like I said, it's not keyed on. And then the connector here, if you can see, because I can't tell if you can see or not, but that's for your trickle charger. So plug it in, and that's what you'll see. It's heating the O2 sensors. And you don't have to fire the bike immediately. You can let those come down. It takes a little bit, and you'll see your O2 sensor reading what it is without the bike running, and that should be whatever the air quality is, as standard. I think it's 22.4, something like that is what it comes around to. But it will take a little bit to heat up, and what it's doing is heating O2 sensors. So there you go, 22.4. So we'll fire the bike. And that's pretty much what I was looking for, exactly that. Let me unplug it here. But if you had that plumbed in where it should be, I mean, if it was on the bike all the time, then you wouldn't have to unplug it like that. But for all these testing purposes on multiple different bikes and what have you, that's just the way it's going to be. So now that I know proof of concept, everything works. Of course, I knew the gauge setup was going to work, but I just kind of had to figure out how I was going to do it with this bike. I'm gonna get everything a little bit tightened up. I gotta leave enough room that way I can steer the bike, and then kind of get everything up and out of the way. That way, you know, it's in the clear, and then I can use it while, you know, testing here, and then take it down the road and see where we go from there. But yeah, pretty good setup. This is the first setup for O2 sensor digital readout that I've ever had, so it's kind of nice. Now I'm thinking that, you know, like I said, you can test and tune this bike, you can test and tune my bike. Although I think I will buy the adapter for it. That way I don't have to cut the exhaust and do all that. Because it's a little bit more work on that bike. This one wasn't that bad because everything's not going to be open, but on the Ducati, it's a little bit of work to pull the exhaust off of it, because you pretty much have to start from the rear of the bike and pull everything out, because the way it connects together. You can't just take a section out and do it that way. So yeah, so hopefully, you saw the air fuel ratio at idle. It was about 12.2, 12.1, which is, as far as I can tell, that's fine. And I'll have to see under full throttle application, but the air fuel ratio so far looks pretty good. So awesome setup. And now that it's kind of done, and we'll get ready to get this thing out of here. So thank you for watching the video.